Hello and welcome to the Success Showcase. I'm your host Eric Lopkin from the Modern Observer Group, and with me as always is Chip Januszewski from the Happiness and Success GPS. Chip, how you doing this week?
I'm doing great. How about you, Eric?
Doing fantastic. And of course, you've had a special week. You're a grandfather again.
I am. As of last Thursday, my grandson Luca was born, and my granddaughter really loves her little brother. So cool. Got the thing on video and so on and so forth. And now everybody down there, you heard the term "sleeping like a baby." That means waking up every 2 hours and crying.
Right.
But that's where we are. So what can I say? I'm a happy guy. So speaking of happy, got a big smile on the other screen here as a guest coming back for the second time.
Yes, we've got Stephen King Jr., who's been with us before, and he has done some amazing things in the meanwhile. Aside from all he's been involved with, he has become the first African American deputy mayor of the town of South Windsor, Connecticut. So congratulations, Steve.
Thank you. Appreciate that, though. It's great to be back with y'all.
So tell us how you got involved in that. I mean, it started out you were a town councilor, but tell us about that.
So it's interesting because nothing was necessarily by design. So yes, I was the first appointed Black town councilor, African American town councilor of South Windsor. And then they said, Stephen, we want you to run again. I said, of course, I'm not gonna half step into this. And so I ran and became the first African American Black town councilor that was duly elected. But the icing on the cake, if you will, I guess, depending on your perspective, is that I got the second highest. I was the second highest vote getter out of all the parties that were involved. And not just my town, other towns do this too, where all of a sudden someone came in and said, congratulations, deputy mayor. And I said, what? And, you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, wow. But, I've, been in situations before and I said, let's just wait till all this kind of bears out. And it's not until other people start coming to you, and whether it's conceding, whatever, and they say, congratulations. And that was it. However, like most things in life, it only matters in a certain sector. So it's like maybe 11 o'clock at night, I go home and my kids are asleep and my wife is asleep, TV's on, she's asleep on the couch. And I said, hey, babe, I won. She said, yep, congratulations. And I said, well, yeah, but I'm also, I also got the second highest amount of votes. I'm deputy mayor. Okay. So you're still cooking dinner tomorrow. Right.
See, that's what family is really for. It's like when things start going to our heads, when we get they're there to just bring us back to earth.
And that's exactly how that worked. And I said, yep, okay, thank you. And that was it. So it's been a ride, to be sure, especially from a historic standpoint, but at the same time, just the job in and of itself is huge, especially as a lot of people don't know. So, not all towns pay. They're and South Windsor is one of those that doesn't. So that's the next question that people say, oh, wow, how much you making? I'm like, oh, I'm not, this is pro bono, and so it's like, what? It's like, yeah, but if you have something that you want to do for a specific reason, then you're willing to kind of make that happen. And so as long as my family was there to support it, so that's what we're doing right now.
So initially, you ran for town council. What got you interested in that?
So I was already doing some things, as Chip well knows, in my fraternity. And so I have escalating levels in that. And quite honestly, there were some things that were going on in the town of South Windsor that transparently, I just wasn't that comfortable with. And I said, in order for me to have maybe some level of impact, sometimes you have to be in what I call a power, quote unquote, power position. And that's not necessarily power to make someone less than, but that if you try to push an initiative or do something, that someone has to at least respect your position enough that, okay, we at least need to take a look at it, right? And so that was the initial catalyst for me saying, let me get involved in some political stuff. And at first it was just minor. I was just on some committees, the WPCA, the Water Pollution Control Authority, and I was part of the Inland Wetlands Commission. And those were, little did I know, very big in most towns. And
yeah, those are very influential positions. People don't necessarily
Yeah.
realize that.
they don't, not at all. I mean, inland wetlands, if you want to build something somewhere, well, if it's a wetland, you're not.
Yep.
And we have the control of saying that. And the WPCA, well, we're the ones that determine the sewage rates and all that stuff. We make sure that your backyard isn't overflowing with all of the raw nutrients of everything going on in life. So once I figured that out, and the blessing though was, honestly, both of those committees allowed me to learn. Like sometimes you get around people that they know everything,
Yeah.
and but they allowed me to sit there and not feel less than. And they would say, Stephen, do you have any questions about what we're about to do here? Or do you have any input? Because we know you have outside experience in other things. And I'll tell you that I'm beholden to the WPCA and the Inland Wetlands Commission for all of those individuals that treated me as an equal, even though I definitely didn't know half as much as they did.
But you were able to take the opportunity to learn, and that's so important.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about that the last time you were on, about the importance of lifelong learning, and this just gave you another opportunity.
It really did. It doesn't matter how many degrees or even experience that you might have. There's always something that you may not know, and it's not until you close your mouth and observe and listen that you'll say, "Oh, okay." And you don't make yourself look like the fool just because you're trying to make yourself look better than somebody else. And so, yeah, I definitely took advantage of that in those moments, without a doubt.
I'm sure the fact that you learned everything from them and they were so open and so on and so forth. I know you were overwhelmed when you found out that you had the second most
Right.
which must have just blown you away. But the fact
Right.
that you're going to be working with these people who helped you get where you were there and helped develop the respect and so on and so forth. I'm sure that you must feel
Yes.
that.
I found that out after that was very important, that on both sides of the aisle, that people appreciated that even though I did come in with a certain amount of education and experience and all those things, that I wasn't spitting off my mouth and all that type of stuff and that was something actually 2 people specifically did my nomination and all those types of things and wrote a letter of recommendation from the other party saying, Steve is that guy and we're very comfortable. And so when everything kind of shook out, there were high fives all around and the respect was there because I think they knew that even not knowing this role as I now know it, I was still willing to sit back and learn and say, okay, how can we achieve what we all want best for the town of South Windsor as a whole?
Yeah, it's the spirit of collaboration, just using everybody you have and everybody working for the same cause. So it sounds like you have a wonderful team.
Yes, big time, big time.
And that is fantastic because unfortunately, we don't see that a lot in public life anymore. People aren't working across aisles and putting together
Right.
teams. And that's how things get done. Things only get better when you work together.
Correct. Absolutely. I don't think there's anything that whether it's marriage or relationships, work, I think we were kind of alluding to it earlier. Even if you're a comic book aficionado, there is no team out there that works best by themselves. And the minute that you try to do that, even if you want to take certain sports, that's why the quarterback of a football team buys his offensive line the rings and the watches, and because you recognize, and yes, you have to have a certain amount of arrogance, but they know where their bread is buttered. And I think that I agree. I think sometimes we especially, well, politicians forget about that. And they forget about the bigger picture of working together. And in business too, you know, if anybody believes that the best owners, managers, vice president, whatever, they're the ones that their team stays loyal to, that even when COVID hits, they still hang out. No, we understand we're on a situation.
Exactly.
You know, we'll take a pay cut. We get it, boss. We understand. But we care about you so much because you cared about us when times were good.
Yep.
We'll be with you through this.
That's exactly right. I mean, to, you know, use your sports metaphor, you know, if you take a look at any superstar in the NBA, they'll all tell you, well, who's got the assist? He can't get that shot without the assist.
Right. And even if you're Michael Jordan, he knew at a certain point, if you're a Bulls aficionado, I had to give the ball to Paxson. I had to give the ball to Kerr. We needed that 3-point shot because everyone was going to come to me. And if I don't, and this is really what it comes down to, if I don't trust my team, I can't succeed. I can't, because I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. At a certain point, somebody's going to humble you.
And if you don't trust your team isn't going to trust you, and then nothing gets done.
Right, and then you're out, and then you're by yourself. And I think a lot of owners, managers, this pandemic, and this is a time capsule, I suppose, showed a lot of people. You know, the saying is very true. If you don't take care of the people that take care of your customers, then they're not going to take care of you. And I know a lot of individuals from a lot of the different things that I'm a part of, that the ones that took care of their people, they're the ones that stuck by them. They're the ones that said, no, we'll figure it out together. And then that owner, that manager was extremely happy, extremely supportive. And now that things are starting to come back, they're not the ones worried about their team. Now, you know, they're back in, and you know who sees it even more? Their customers. Like, I remember, and you know, this is not a sponsor or anything, but I remember there was a certain restaurant that literally put ads in papers saying, we are going to keep our staff on the payroll because we believe in our staff and our community. And the minute I saw that, I said, babe, that's where all our money's going. I don't care. We're going to go there because that person, that owner, that management group knows what's important. It's not, yes, it is the bottom line, but it's your people, it's your team.
Right, but you can't look at the bottom line without looking at these other factors. Everybody talks about customer engagement, but who are the people that are engaging those customers? It's the employees. You take care of the employees take care of the customers, and the customers create the bottom line.
Exactly. They see that you're loyal. They see as an employee that you care. And that starts at the top, but not saying that I'm at the top. Everybody knows you're at the top. You don't need to say it every time you walk in the door and so on and so forth. There's already a built-in, quote unquote, respect. Whether they respect you or not, they respect the position. But when customers, I see it all the time. You can tell immediately whether a manager is there or not, depending on how employees act, right? But it's always the best spots that there's not a manager per se, but everybody's having fun. It might be busy as heck, but everyone knows that it's busy as heck and everybody's having fun. Hey, Eric, we'll get you in a second. I know you ordered that. I apologize. As you can see, we're jamming. Everybody's in it. And you can tell that their leadership has allowed them and empowered them to have fun, to have a good time, because they recognize that customers will feed back off of that. I've never met a pissed off customer where it's happiness inside of an organization, because usually the expectation is there. You know, we've said it. We're not trying to, you know, front or act fake. Hey, we know we